Welcome back, guys, to Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, where in the case Rise for the Ashes, we currently are filling out a kind of log here of people that entered the evidence room and have managed to get a certain amount of people nicely filled into it. Miles Edgeworth and Bruce Goodman. After asking Edgeworth about it, we got a mysterious screwdriver that seems to be unrelated to the case. So with that said, we talk some more about things. Let's put it that way. Inquiry committee, what do you have to say about that? So, how did the inquiry committee go? Actually, they decided to treat this not as a case of concealing evidence, but as a communications error during the investigation. Concealing evidence? Yes, apparently, there are some who believe that I concealed evidence. They gave me a warning. You were lucky this time. Again. Again? I've heard them say that so many times. Ever since that case 2 years ago. What about that case then? Are you okay for the trial tomorrow? Well, I'm still the presiding prosecuting attorney. However, something happened. They gave control of the investigation over to the police department. The police department? Yes. Any further investigation for this case will be directed by the Chief of Police Gant. I can do nothing but wait for his results. I see. Why, I ask you? Why? All along I've done only what I believe is right. I've nothing to be ashamed of. But still. Wow, I've never seen him this out of sorts. Right, there must be more to talk about at this point in time, however. Only 2 dialogue options here? Seems a bit weird. So what are we presenting to him to force more? His own stuff, maybe? Or we've already kind of talked to him about that kind of stuff. Well, I guess if you're talking with anyone, then talking to him about the previous case might be a good idea. Let's see if that gives it a go. I know you. You've probably got a hold of some information already, right? It all has to do with that case you're on. The SL9 incident. And who's a better source than some dark suspicion you were wrapped up in? You are the man who revived the worst memory of my life. I figured I'd be telling you about this sooner or later. He must be talking about his father's murder in that elevator. Okay, Edgeworth, why don't you tell me about it? Tell me the truth. Well, that seems to be the right trick. Ask a former prosecutor or a current prosecutor about past cases is usually a good idea. The allegations of forgery. The SL9 incident was a heinous serial killing case. The head of the investigation was the deputy chief of police at the time, Damon Gant. Oh, really? That wacky old coot was involved in the case 2 years ago too, then. He was the top officer, and it was my first time working with him. I was nervous. Wow, you get nervous too, Mr. Edgeworth? What I want to know is why was a deputy chief of police on the investigation? In truth, I used slightly more extreme methods than normal. We were dealing with a vicious murderer. If I let him go, the blood would be on my hands. We won our guilty verdict, and the killer was executed. Wait, you didn't... Of course not. I didn't touch the evidence. Yes, I will do anything in my power to win a trial. However, I do have a code, and I follow it faithfully. By the way, Emma, the chief prosecutor wanted to know something. My sister? What? If you were still studying forensic science? Huh? Yes, of course. Why, just today Mr. Wright and I were using this. Luminol testing fluid, Well then, you might have use for this. Aluminium powder for taking fingerprints? Ah, spelt aluminum. The differences. It's been chemically treated for better adhesion. For me? Are you sure? We are the enemy, you know. I'm no say in today's investigation. Do as you will. Edgeworth, I'm really... No need to thank me. Here, take your powder and those fingerprint files for everyone involved. Okay. Thanks. How about giving these to Detective Gumshoe as well? He seems to want some more equipment there, but we've got ourselves a very interesting set of info. Well, let's get going. Oh, we're leaving, are we? One last investigation. We didn't even get 4 dialogue options. Right. I do seem to remember seeing a suspicious handprint somewhere. Okay then. The game is telling us to go somewhere else. So we follow the game out as much as we can. All the way we go! All the way! To the evidence room. No more Jake Marshall around them. Our investigation turned up a suspicious handprint. Here, in this blood on the detective's evidence locker. Let's use the secret weapon we just borrowed. Right, let's get started. First, choose a finger. A finger? Each finger leaves behind a slightly different imprint. So let's choose the finger that will have left behind the clearest print. Obviously, we can tell which one that is. I really can't tell the difference at a glance. I think it's the one that's mostly full. Quit procrastinating and choose a finger. I'm going to choose a finger, it's okay. Okay, now it's time to check for prints. Let me show you how it's done. How is it done? Emma's starting to get that sparkle in her eyes. First, we sprinkle the aluminum powder around. Oh my god, saying it that way. Huh? How do you do that? Just touch the screen, see? Ah, it looks like that did the trick. The aluminum powder adheres completely to the print. I'm going to just say aluminium. Once the powder is well spread, just blow away the excess. Huh? How do I do that? You just blow with your breath. Imagine you're blowing out the candles on a birthday cake. See? Wow, that looks like fun. It might take some getting used to though. It's fine. It won't go up your nose or anything. You just pour the powder on thick and blow away the extra. Those are the basics of fingerprinting, Mr. Wright. I guess I'd better give it a try. Right then, so spread the powder we shall. Everywhere you can go, all the powder. Do you think that's enough powder yet? It looks pretty thick. And then we just blow. No, oh no, it was moving. Could you see it? We've got to blow some more. Keep blowing me. Haven't I blown enough yet, or have I not spread enough powder on certain bits? I think it's me not having enough powder on things. Even down there, maybe? I think that's enough by now, isn't it? Really? Still not done? Or do I just have to keep blowing? There we go. One big breath. Aha! You did it! You found one! But this looks nothing like a fingerprint. Now that you mention it, I guess it doesn't. What does it mean? I think it means we're out of luck. Out of luck? The person who left this handprint must have worn gloves. Don't tell me we've been wasting our time here. Hey, calm down. That's just the way it goes sometimes with scientific investigations. Well, we can tell he's wearing gloves, though. But it does seem a shame. While we're at it, why don't we look for other prints? Other prints? Looking at the locker door again closely. It seems like there are fingerprints outside the bloody handprints as well. Oh, really? Let's see if we can find a clear print. Fingerprints outside the blood. Right then, let's use that one then. It seems the clearest to me, and then just double finger tap to spread as much as possible, as fast as possible. Spready, spread, 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 spread. That's probably enough. Right, big blow. Oh, big blows work best. Yay, a print so clear it's dazzling. Dazzling? Anyway, this print took a lot of effort to find. Let's match it up right away. So we're not done yet? This is quite a process. Well, there's no point in finding a fingerprint and not knowing who the owner is, right? I guess she's right. Look at the fingerprint data we got from Mr. Edgeworth and point out the person you think left those prints. Okay, huh? How am I supposed to know who it was, indeed? I can make a pretty good guess. The bloody handprint and the fingerprints are in different places, right? That means that the prints probably don't have anything to do with our case. So whose fingerprints will we most likely find on this evidence locker? It's you, isn't it? It seems we have some kind of technical device to do the scanning as well. Aha! So these prints belong to Detective Gumshoe in a horrible kind of pose. Something wrong, Mr. Wright? You gave me this so what look. I guess that's probably because I was thinking, so what? Okay, so we came up with nothing this time, but there's always next time. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. You gotta roll with the punches, Mr. Wright. Thanks for the sympathy. Wait, if I remember correctly, there was one other handprint in this room. Let's check it out. Right, and the one other handprint then, wasn't it over here? So how do I use this stuff apart from that? This is where we got a luminol fluid reaction, right? Right, there was a handprint here. Okay, wanna try using this? There go our eyes, sparkling again. Check for prints, of course. Okay, let's check for prints. That's the spirit. Oh, but I have to warn you about something first. What? The area with the blood was wiped away, right? We only ended up finding it using chemical means. Any prints in that area will have been wiped away too. Oh, right. So that means no prints. Would you say the probability of your hypothesis is high? Don't ask me! Anyway, we must try to find prints that weren't wiped away. Prints other than the ones left by the bloody hand. So you're saying other than those wiped by the bloody hand? So do you mean like where another finger would be? So they'd have wiped directly the blood but not the rest? I think that's what it's saying, don't you? Double tap method! You see how two fingers are working the board there. Do you think that's enough? Right, big blow. And I think we've got our victim. Or more or less, we haven't got the full coverage. Let's add a bit more. Got ya. And now you get to hear my blowing noises for some reason. Right, so who is this gonna be? Well, let's just choose the people who we knew were probably in the room at any point in time, which were probably Bruce Goodman and Mike Meekins. Someone like that. Well, I don't think that's a match. Okay, not a match there. No, I know it's not a match. We don't get a strike for it. Edgeworth as well would be good to test. Meekins isn't far off, but it is at the same time. Look at all the records they keep on file for fingerprints as well. Right, so... oh, there's no Edgeworth as an option. Edgeworth didn't give us his prints. So it's not Dick Gumshoe, because I'm pretty sure we'd recognise that one. Alana Skye, was she in the room? Obviously not. Right, there aren't many more people that we could postulate were in here, apart from the guy who guards it. Oh, there we go. We got a match here. So one of those ID cards on record must be him, then. Why didn't he show us his ID? Why did he want to not know we were in here? Hey, these fingerprints, they... whose are they? Whose? Is it someone I know? It's Officer Marshall. Huh? Officer Jake Marshall? Okay. That's gotta be a coincidence. He's not involved in the crime. Emma. This is decidedly different from Detective Gumshoe's prints. A luminol reaction. The blood and the fingerprints are in the same place. Oh. Oh! So we have Jake Marshall's fingerprints. On a wiped blood stain. But why would Officer Marshall... It looks like our investigation is finally turning up some results. I guess this is what you'd call decisive evidence. Indeed it is. I don't believe it. Oh, we finished our investigation at last. With tons more evidence, I'm a bit worried about going into case with my brain being as it is. This is the kind of case you want to go through all in one lump rather than filming over a period of weeks. Just remember all the details. How much will I remember? That's the thing. That's the thing with any of it. So, what do you think, Mr. Wright? I think the prosecution is as confused as we are. After all, the victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time. And a different suspect was arrested at each of the crime scenes. Lana! Good morning, Mr. Wright. I apologise for yesterday. I was indisposed. I hope they didn't hold you too long for questioning. We just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighters, though. So, how'd it go? It's as Mr. Wright suspects. The police are clueless. I figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain. A plea bargain? What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told them the truth behind this simultaneous murder, they wouldn't seek capital punishment. That's what I mean, Emma. But Lana, don't tell me you... Much to my regret, I'm as much in the dark about this as they are. Miss Skye. Huh? We found trace evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. They belong to Officer Jake Marshall. What kind of trace evidence? Blood-stained fingerprints, to be exact. That's the trump card I have on my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you? In order to defend my sister, you're going to accuse Mr. Marshall? We have to play the cards we're dealt. Isn't that right, Miss Skye? Do what you have to do, Mr. Wright. And so we move on to another day in court. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is... I'm afraid you'll have to clarify. It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time. But that's not physically possible, is it? What's more, I hear the victim from the evidence room just disappeared. Yes, and the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Wow, this is one messed up trial. I think that's the easiest part of the trial, to be honest. One of my duties as prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today I will present evidence relating to the murder at the police department. In so doing, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself. Now that's what sets Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things, even though he doesn't know what's going on himself. And that's supposed to be an admirable trait. Very well, let the trial resume. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness of the day to the stand. For its first witness, the prosecution calls the suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department. The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer? Oh boy. Things are getting wild from the get-go. Will the witness please state his name and occupation? Yes, sir. I'm Officer Mike Meekins, sir. My occupation is, that would be murderer, sir. So you're telling us you're a professional killer? Sir, it was me, sir. I'm the one who did it. I'll never kill anyone again, sir. You've got to believe me, sir. Actually, what we'd like to hear from you, sir. I'm what you would call part of the younger generation, sir. A person whose actions adults can't possibly comprehend. Please, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Help me, sir. Officer Meekins. Yes, sir. Give us your report of the crime. Consider that an order. Yes, sir. As you wish, sir. Right then, so we're about to get a report of the crime from the murderer himself, professional killer, Mike Meekins. But I'll ask you to tune in next episode as we start another day in court. I'll see you then for more Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. Bye-bye.